plasma round took off Sergeant Chen's head 3 feet to my left, and I didn't even flinch. You stop flinching after the first 100 near misses. You just keep moving, keep breathing, keep killing. Human unit pinned at grid 7-7. The Velthari battle net crackled with their sharp clicking language. I'd learned enough of it in the camps to understand. Requesting additional forces. 1 survivor. Repeat, 1 survivor. 1 survivor. That was me. Staff Sergeant Marcus Cole, last of the 33rd Reconnaissance Platoon, buried in the rubble of what used to be a colonial outpost on Kepler 442b. 26 of my brothers and sisters gone in the first wave. Now I was playing hide-and-seek with an alien army in the skeleton of a burning building. The Velthari had a saying, "A cornered prey is still prey." They were about to learn how wrong that was. I checked my ammunition. 2 magazines for my rifle. 1 fragmentation grenade. A combat knife that had been my grandfather's. And a jury-rigged explosive made from kitchen chemicals in a power cell, something I'd learned from an old Afghan veteran back in basic training. "This is Commander Veyra Keth'aran," a new voice cut through the static. Female. Cold. The kind of voice that expected obedience from the universe itself. Status report on the human elimination. "Commander, the target has proven difficult. We've lost 9 soldiers." A pause. When she spoke again, I could hear the contempt dripping from every syllable. 9 soldiers. Against 1 human. One of those soft, short-lived creatures that couldn't even leave their own star system until a century ago. I smiled in the darkness. "Keep underestimating me. Send 400, Commander Veyra ordered. Surround the structure. Flush it out. I want this ended within the hour. The Dominion does not waste resources on vermin. 400 soldiers. For 1 man, I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt something I hadn't felt since the war began. I felt seen. The building shook as the first wave of Velthari troops breached the lower levels. Their thermal imaging would be useless in this heat. The fires I'd started made sure of that. Their motion sensors would ping constantly from the debris still settling. And their numerical advantage meant nothing in these tight corridors, where only 2 could advance at a time. I moved through the ventilation system like a ghost, placing my improvised explosive at a structural weak point. The Velthari were methodical, professional. They cleared each room by the book, called out contacts, maintained spacing. That was their weakness. They fought like they'd been taught. I fought like I wanted to live. The first explosion brought down the eastern stairwell, trapping 60 of them in the basement level. The second sealed the western approach. Now they could only come from the north, single file through a corridor I'd pre-selected. "Contact! Contact! He's in a..." The transmission cut off. I was already gone, moving to my next position. My grandfather's knife was wet now. "Commander," a panicked voice reported, "we've lost contact with squads 7 through 12. Thermal is useless. He's hunting us. Impossible." Veyra's voice had lost some of its certainty. "It's 1 human. Commander, request permission to withdraw and..." Denied. "Find it. Kill it. Or I will come down there and do it myself." 3 hours later, I sat in the ruins of the command center, surrounded by the bodies of 47 Velthari soldiers. My left arm was broken. 2 ribs cracked. A plasma burn across my back that would scar permanently. But I was alive. The door exploded inward, and she walked through the smoke like a goddess of war. Commander Veyra Keth'aran stood 7 feet tall, her silver-blue skin gleaming with embedded combat armor, her 4 eyes burning with a fury I could feel from across the room. In her hands, she carried a plasma lance that hummed with enough power to cut through a tank. "You," she breathed, staring at the carnage around her. "You did this." I rose to my feet, swaying slightly. My rifle was empty. My grenade was gone. All I had left was my grandfather's knife and whatever stubborn spite kept humans breathing when they should be dead. "You sent 400 soldiers to kill me," I said, my voice raw from smoke inhalation. "Figured you'd want to see the job done right." Her eyes narrowed. In Velthari culture, I'd learned, personal combat was sacred. A commander who lets subordinates do all the killing was no commander at all. "What are you?" she asked. And for the first time, it wasn't contempt in her voice. It was genuine confusion. "I'm a human," I said. "And I'm not done yet." She raised her lance. I raised my knife. And somewhere in the burning ruins of Kepler 442b, a war between species became something far more personal. She was faster than me. Stronger. Better equipped. Her plasma lance carved through the air where my head had been a millisecond before, and only pure instinct saved me from becoming another scorch mark on the wall. I rolled, came up slashing, and actually managed to score a hit across her forearm. Silver blood welled up. The first time I'd ever wounded a Velthari commander. Veyra looked at the cut with something approaching wonder. You drew blood. I'm aiming for a lot more than that. She laughed. It was a harsh sound, like metal scraping metal, but there was genuine amusement in it. You fight like a cornered animal. No technique. No form. Just desperation. Desperation's kept me alive this long. We circled each other in the flickering light of the fires. Outside, I could hear more Velthari troops gathering, but none entered. This was between us now. Their culture demanded it. Why do you fight? Veyra asked, her lance held ready. Your species has already lost. Your colonies. Your fleets are scattered. In a year, perhaps two, humanity will be nothing but a footnote in Dominion history. Maybe, I admitted, but I won't be alive to see it. And neither will a lot of your soldiers. You killed 47 of my warriors. 47 families will mourn because of you. Her voice hardened. Do you feel nothing? I thought about Chen. About Rodriguez and Kim and all the others who died in the first assault. About my sister on Earth who I'd never see again. I feel everything, I said. That's why I'm still standing. She attacked again, a blur of silver and blue. I barely dodged, took a glancing hit to my already broken arm, and bit back a scream. My knife found her thigh, slipped between armor plates, and she hissed in pain. We broke apart, both bleeding now. You're not like the other humans we've captured, Veyra said, studying me with new eyes. They break. They beg. They surrender. I'm not special. I'm just stubborn. No, Denda. She shook her head slowly. There's something else. I fought 1,000 battles across 100 worlds. I know warriors. And you. She paused, searching for the word. You adapt. Every time I attack, you're slightly better prepared. You're learning my patterns in real time. Humans are good at that. Learning. Adapting. It's how we survived on a planet that tried to kill us for 200,000 years. Your planet tried to kill you. Ice ages. Predators. Disease. Famine. Each other. I shrugged with my good shoulder. We're not the strongest species. Not the fastest. Not the smartest. But we're still here. And we'll still be here long after your dominion is dust. Something flickered in her 4 eyes. Not anger. Something deeper. You truly believe that. I know it. The building groaned around us. The fires were spreading, weakening the structure. We had minutes before the whole thing came down. I'm going to give you a choice, Veyra said slowly. Something I've never offered a human before. Surrender to me. Personally. Not to the Dominion. And I will ensure you're treated as a prisoner of war. Not a slave. Not a test subject. A warrior who fought with honor. I considered it. For about half a second. Counteroffer, I said. Let me walk out of here, and I won't collapse this building on both of us. Her eyes widened. You're bluffing. I pulled a small detonator from my pocket. The last trick I'd been saving. The support columns on the north side are rigged. I set them up before you arrived. 1 click and we both die. You would kill yourself just to kill me. Lady, I've been ready to die since the moment your ships appeared in our sky. The only question is how many of you I take with me. We stared at each other across the burning room. 2 warriors, 2 species, 1 impossible moment. You're insane, Veyra whispered. Same thing sometimes. And then, impossibly, she lowered her lance. Go, she said. What? Go. Now, Day. Before I change my mind. Her voice was rough, conflicted. I will tell my superiors you died in a collapse. They will believe it. No human could have survived this. Why? She met my eyes, and I saw something I never expected to see in a Velthari commander. Respect. Because I have fought for 2 centuries, and I have never met an enemy like you. Because my people have grown complacent, fighting species that surrender at the first defeat. She hesitated. Because I want to see what you do next. I should have argued. Should have questioned her motives. Instead, I just nodded and started moving toward the back exit. Human, she called out. I stopped. What is your name, Cole? Marcus Cole. Marcus Cole. She tasted the syllables like they were something foreign and fascinating. I am Veyra Keth'aran, 3rd Fleet Commander of the Velthari Dominion. And I suspect this is not the last time we will meet. Count on it. I disappeared into the smoke, and behind me I heard the building begin to collapse. 6 months later, the war had changed. Not ended. Humanity was still losing, still burning, still dying. But we were dying slower now. Fighting smarter. The tactics I developed on Kepler 442b, had spread through what remained of our military networks. Guerrilla warfare, improvised explosives, psychological operations. We couldn't beat the Velthari in a straight fight, so we stopped fighting straight. I was on Proxima Station when the distress call came in. Not from a human ship, but from a Velthari one. Commander Veyra's flagship, the Crimson Mandate, was under attack. Not by humans. By the Keth'vor. I'd heard rumors about them. A machine intelligence that had been dormant for millennia, now awakened and hungry. They didn't conquer. They consumed. Entire species, entire civilizations, broken down into raw materials for their endless expansion. The Velthari Dominion had been fighting them on their far border for decades. Now that war had come to our sector. Why should we care? Admiral Chen, no relation to my dead sergeant, demanded in the emergency briefing. Let them kill each other. It's the best thing that could happen to us. Because the Keth'vor won't stop with the Velthari, I said. They'll come for us next, and we can't fight them alone. You're suggesting we help the enemy? I'm suggesting we help ourselves. The Velthari have technology we need. Ships, weapons, knowledge about the Keth'vor's weaknesses. If Veyra's fleet falls, we lose access to all of that. Veyra diked. Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed. You're on a first-name basis with a Velthari commander. She let me live when she should have killed me. That means something in their culture. It means I have a claim on her, and she has one on me. The room erupted in arguments. Politicians screaming about betrayal. Officers demanding we stay out of it. But in the end, they gave me what I wanted. One ship, 12 volunteers, a suicide mission to save our enemy. We found the Crimson Mandate drifting in the debris field of what used to be a Velthari battle group. 17 ships all destroyed. The Keth'vor had hit them hard and fast, their machine precision overwhelming the Velthari's warrior pride. Human vessel, Veyra's voice crackled over the comm. Weak, but alive. Why are you here? You let me live once. I'm returning the favor. A long pause. You're a fool, Marcus Cole. Yeah, I get that a lot. What's your status? Engines destroyed. Weapons at 12%. 300 crew, half wounded. Another pause. The Keth'vor are regrouping for a final assault. We have perhaps 1 hour, then we better work fast. I'm coming aboard. The Crimson Mandate was a graveyard. Bodies everywhere. Velthari soldiers who'd fought to the last breath against an enemy that felt no fear, no pain, no mercy. I found Veyra on the bridge, her silver blood staining her command chair, a plasma lance still clutched in her hands. You look terrible, I said. You look human. But there was a ghost of a smile on her face. I did not expect to see you again. I'm stubborn, remember? I remember. She tried to stand, winced, and I caught her before she fell. For a moment, we were close enough that I could see the individual facets of her 4 eyes, each one reflecting a different emotion. Pain, exhaustion, and something else. Your people, she said quietly. They will never forgive you for this, probably not. But I didn't join the military to be popular. Why did you join? I thought about it. Because someone has to stand between the darkness and everyone else. Even when it's hopeless. Even when it hurts. Especially then. She studied me for a long moment. My people have a word for that. Keth'varan. It means one who fights the dying of the light. We just call it being human. The Keth'vor hit us an hour later, right on schedule. 3 of their harvester ships, each one the size of a small moon, descending on the crippled Mandate like vultures on a corpse. But we were ready. The Keth'vor are machines, I explained to Veyra's surviving officers. They think in patterns, algorithms. They've analyzed Velthari tactics for decades. They know exactly how you'll respond to every situation. Then how do we defeat them? A young lieutenant demanded. We don't fight like Velthari. We fight like humans. I pulled up a holographic display. Unpredictable. Irrational. We do things that don't make tactical sense, that no logical mind would ever attempt. Such as? I smiled. We ran them. The plan was insane. Take the Mandate's remaining engine power, route it all to the forward shields, and drive straight into the lead harvester's processing core. The Keth'vor would never expect it because it was suicide. No rational species would sacrifice a capital ship for a single kill. But humans weren't rational. And today, neither were the Velthari. This will kill us all, Veyra said quietly, as we watched her crew prepare for the final assault. Maybe. But it'll kill them too. And your fleet will have time to regroup, to warn the Dominion. You would die for my people. After everything we've done to yours? I looked at her, really looked at her. At the warrior who'd sent 400 soldiers to kill me, then let me go. At the commander who'd fought for 2 centuries and never met an enemy she respected. At the woman beneath the armor, tired and wounded and facing the end with her head held high. "I'm not dying for your people," I said. "I'm dying next to you. There's a difference." Something changed in her eyes then. Something I couldn't name but felt in my chest like a second heartbeat. "Marcus Cole," she said softly. "You are the strangest creature I have ever met. Is that a compliment? I haven't decided yet." The Keth'vor attacked. And we flew straight into hell. The impact should have killed us. By every law of physics, every calculation of probability, the Crimson Mandate should have been vaporized the moment we hit the Harvester's hull. But humans have a long history of surviving things we shouldn't. The forward shields held just long enough for us to punch through the outer armor. The Mandate's prow crumpled like paper, but the core of the ship, the bridge, the engine room, the sections where the survivors had gathered, remained intact. We were inside the Harvester now, a splinter in the eye of a god. "All hands," Veyra commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Prepare for boarding action. We take their core or we die trying." 300 Velthari warriors and 12 humans against a machine intelligence that had consumed civilizations. The odds were impossible. We did it anyway. The interior of the Harvester was a nightmare of metal and wire, of half-processed organic matter, and the ghosts of species long extinct. The Keth'vor drones came at us in waves, humanoid shapes made of liquid metal, reforming every time we destroyed them. "They're adapting to our weapons," Lieutenant Voss shouted, emptying his rifle into a drone that barely slowed. "Then we adapt faster." I grabbed a piece of debris, a jagged shard of Velthari hull plating, and drove it through the drone's central processor. It collapsed, twitching. "They're machines. They can't handle variables they haven't calculated." "What variables?" I looked at Veyra, fighting beside me with her plasma lance, silver blood streaming from a dozen wounds. She met my eyes and nodded. "Us," I said. "We're the variable." We fought our way to the Harvester's core through corridors that seemed to shift and change around us. The Keth'vor were learning, adapting, but we were faster. Every time they adjusted to our tactics, we changed them. Velthari precision, combined with human chaos. Order and entropy, working together. It was beautiful. In a terrible way. The core chamber was vast, a cathedral of circuitry and stolen memories. At its center, a pulsing sphere of light, the Harvester's brain, its soul, if machines could have souls. "If we destroy that," Veyra said, "the Harvester dies. But the explosion will consume everything within a kilometer. Then we need to get our people out first. There's no time. The other Harvesters are already moving to intercept. If we don't destroy this one now, they'll overwhelm us." I looked at the sphere, then at Veyra, then at the handful of survivors who'd made it this far. Humans and Velthari, standing together in the heart of their enemy. "Get them out," I said. "I'll stay." "No." Veyra's voice was sharp. "I will not. You're a fleet commander. Your people need you. Mine need you too, whether they know it or not." I pulled out my grandfather's knife, somehow still with me after everything. "I'm just a sergeant." "Expendable." "You are not expendable." She grabbed my arm, her grip strong enough to bruise. "You are Marcus Cole. You killed 47 of my warriors. You taught me that humans are more than vermin. You made me question everything I believed about strength and weakness and what it means to be a warrior. Veyra, she sent 400 soldiers to kill me. Then she came herself." She laughed bitterly. "That's what they'll say about me, isn't it? The commander who couldn't kill one human. The commander who was changed by one human. Is that such a bad legacy?" She looked at me, and in her 4 eyes I saw something I'd never expected to see. Not just respect. Not just admiration. Something more. "If we survive this," she said quietly, "you will stand beside me. Not as a prisoner. Not as an ally. As an equal. My people will learn what I have learned, that humanity is not weak. That your chaos is a strength we never understood. And if we don't survive, then we die together. As warriors. As..." She hesitated. "As whatever we are becoming." I made a decision then. The kind of decision that changes everything. "New plan," I said. "We both stay. We both fight. And we find a way to destroy that core and survive, because that's what humans do. We find ways. That's impossible. Lady, I've been doing impossible things since the day we met. We rigged the core with every explosive we had left. Velthari plasma, charges. Human grenades. My last improvised device, built from harvester components and desperate hope. Then we ran. The explosion caught us halfway to the exit. The shockwave threw us through a hull breach and into open space. I felt my suit rupture, felt the cold vacuum trying to claim me. Then Veyra's arms were around me, her armor sealing against mine, sharing her oxygen, her heat, her life. We drifted in the debris field, watching the harvester die. Its death scream echoed across every frequency. A machine god, brought down by a human sergeant and a Velthari commander who'd learned to fight together. Marcus. Veyra's voice was weak in my ear. Are you alive? Mostly. You? Mostly. A pause. Your plan was insane. It worked. It worked. I could hear the smile in her voice. Perhaps insanity has its merits. The rescue ships found us an hour later, Velthari and human vessels, working together for the first time in history. The war wasn't over. The Keth'vor were still out there. And the peace between our species was fragile, uncertain, built on nothing but the shared memory of one impossible battle. But it was a start. They put us in the same medical bay, Veyra and I. Political symbolism, probably. The human and the Velthari who'd saved each other, proof that cooperation was possible. What happens now? I asked her, watching the stars drift past the viewport. Now we fight. Together. The Keth'vor will not stop, and neither can we. And after, when the machines are beaten. She turned to look at me, and in her eyes I saw the future. Uncertain, dangerous, but alive with possibility. After, she said slowly, I think I would like to see your Earth, to understand the world that created someone like you. It's not much. Blue and green. Lots of water. Tries to kill us regularly. It sounds perfect. I reached out and took her hand. Her skin was cool against mine, alien and familiar all at once. Show you the mountains where I grew up. The ocean where I learned to swim. The sky that made us dream of stars. Is that a promise, Marcus Cole? It's a guarantee. Outside, the fleet was gathering. Human and Velthari ships, flying in formation for the first time. A new alliance, forged in fire and blood, and the stubborn refusal to die. The war was just beginning. But for the first time since the Velthari had appeared in our sky, I felt something I'd almost forgotten. Hope. And beside me, her hand still in mine, Commander Veyra Keth'aran. The woman who'd sent 400 soldiers to kill me. Then came herself. Watched the stars with eyes that had learned to see humans as something more than vermin. Something like equals. Something like partners. Something like the beginning of everything. YouTube description, 1,000 characters, 1 soldier, 1 burning outpost. 400 alien troops sent to erase him. Staff Sergeant Marcus Cole should have died on Kepler 442b with the rest of the 33rd Recon. Instead, he turns the ruins into a killing maze. Until the Velthari commander ordering his death arrives in person. Veyra Keth'aran expected vermin. She found a survivor who learns, adapts, and refuses to break. 6 months later, a new enemy emerges. The Keth'vor, machine harvesters that don't conquer, they consume. When Veyra's flagship is crippled and the harvesters close in, Marcus convinces humanity to do the unthinkable, save the enemy, because the machines won't stop at the Dominion. A suicide ramming. A boarding assault, inside a machine god. Velthari precision meets human chaos, and something changes between them in the fire. She sent 400 soldiers to kill him. Then she came herself. Now they fight side by side, and the galaxy begins to rewrite what enemy means. Keywords HFI, Sci-Fİ. Alien Commander, Human Soldier, Last Survivor, Kill Squad, Interspecies Alliance, Enemies to Allies, Alien War, Space Battle, Machine Intelligences, Killer Robots, Boarding Action, Plasma Weapons, Guerrilla Bots, Boarding Action, Plasma Weapons. Warfare, Military CFI, Space Opera, Redemption, Honor Duel, Humanity, fuck yeah.